Hi, this is Carl, and I'm
Sounds
joined
good.
today by a very special guest, Lisa Hendrickson, who is known as Call That Girl. She also has, we've just put up some of her videos training for sale at SMB Books. So let's start with you. Who are you, and what do you do, and what is Call That Girl?
Hey, Carl. Well, Call That Girl is my business. I'm an Outlook expert and Office 365 consultant. Many people from the old technical circles might remember me as the girl who wrote the remote book. I wrote a book many years ago about how to do remote support, and that's kind of where my name started getting out into the tech communities more. And but before that, I started my business actually in 2003, just doing home support for ladies in Minneapolis. And oddly, I kind of lived next door to one of the Geek Squad guys, so I saw their little bug all the time. This was the early days, but so I picked up the Call That Girl from people saying, call that girl at the help desk. They didn't know my name. So that's how the brand started. Just through all the years, I kind of built the brand around the things I like to do. Since 2007, I started full time, and I've been just kind of a serial entrepreneur doing whatever I love doing, I guess is the way to put it.
Well, that's not a horrible thing. So is your audience IT consultants or end users, or both?
Well, I market myself on the internet to clients for the Outlook expert work and the Office 365 work. But in the past year, I'm getting more calls from technicians because they sometimes need help with migrations or aftercare or whatever. You know, they're in a snag, so they look for an expert as well. But the videos and the ebooks I create are specifically for technical, usually to help them learn how to market better or do whatever whatever my books, like the last one I did was just how to start a computer repair business. Real simple little ebook.
Right.
So I cater to technicians. Mm-hmm.
And where do you publish those? Are those on Amazon? On Kindle or?
Well, I self-published actually, and through just channels of like yourself, of working with other people who have distribution lists. I originally started with working with TechNibble years ago. So I participate a lot, Carl, in online forums. People follow people who participate a lot. So I participate in these online forums and Facebook groups, and I give a lot of helpful hints or helpful tips for people, and then they watch you and follow you and hire you and buy your stuff.
Right, exactly. So have you got a lot of clients, or I mean, are they all break fix, or do people just find you one at a time and say, I need an hour here and an hour there?
I'm only break fix right now. I basically market myself on the internet as an Outlook expert. So if you go to Google, type in Outlook expert, I'm number one. I also have a lot of other high ranked keywords. So when people are in, like, they've been frustrated with Microsoft or whatever, and they're like, I got to get an expert, they find me. So my hourly is really kind of how people hire me, but many times it turns into 2 or 3 4-hour jobs, because I also do big reworks of Outlook and data recovery. A lot of people delete files they shouldn't be and such. And I also sell prepaid tickets. So those are really, my prepaid tickets are where the big money comes in, because I had to earn more money.
Right.
So I started running a help desk. Yeah. And then I also do exchange migrations, which are kind of high dollar items. I charge what's called a VIP price, pretty expensive, but I do really good work, so I can charge higher.
Migrations to the cloud?
To Office 365 Exchange online, yep.
So you'll help somebody get from on-site Exchange into Office 365. Yep. And do you do that primarily through the Microsoft Office 365, or do you also do it if somebody's bought licenses through Intermedia or Rackspace or somebody else?
Sure. I typically have a vendor I work with. Their name is AppRiver.
Oh, okay.
And I do the sales, and I partner with them. So my clients actually pay AppRiver, and then they buy a prepay from me, and I help them with stuff that AppRiver doesn't cover in their basic support model.
Okay.
Like a lot of times, my clients love having Outlook problems. They have many email accounts. They've got many other things thinking. They've got huge teams that have drama. So I'll do an exchange migration, and then that's the break fix. It's over. And then you buy a prepay from me, and I do IT help desk support moving ahead. So I don't have any MSP models. I did a lot of, if you don't recall, last time I interviewed you on my podcast, we talked about that, and I said I was going to consider it, but I just want to get an MSP thing going for me. I'm too break-fixy in my head. Couldn't switch over to that monthly and all that. No, I tried, though, Carl.
So
for you.
what size of clients do you normally get? Is it under 100, under 25?
Well, typically I get a lot of one-person shows, like the attorneys that have their own practice, one person. It goes up to 5. Just an example, I got a lead 2 days ago. A company wants me to be the IT manager of they've got 30 people in different states, and they want someone to be the main person to manage all the stuff. And that was because they kept finding me with what they were searching for.
No matter what they searched for, you were there.
Yeah, as I'm so good at the SEO, they were like, yeah, we just kept finding you. But the thing is that they want just someone who's fast and responsive, and I was, and they like that. I also have been helping IT companies with migration management work. So, like, they want to do it, but they don't have to do it a lot. So they just want someone else to coach them and step in. And that's what I do, is a lot of that. And then some techs also buy my 2-hour tech ticket so they can have me remote into a machine of their clients without the client knowing.
Right.
So I'm like their piggyback. Mm-hmm.
So you're
so I really kind of handle everything,
subcontractor. You're
of sorts. Yeah. I mean,
so
I've kidnapped email at 10 o'clock at night too, Carl. Someone's getting fired. I go take care of it.
Well, that's interesting. So you have put together these videos, and these are specifically intended for IT consultants who might need some help figuring out how do they start troubleshooting Outlook. And you got a lot of videos. It's like 7, right?
Yep.
So tell me about.
It took a long time, Carl, to get the content.
Oh, you cut out of me there.
Well, okay. Sorry. The videos actually started as a thought in 2014. And I actually almost had 100% it all ready to go. But then I tested some live webinar training, and I didn't sell very well. So I was like, okay, there's something wrong. But I put a lot of time into it. I put the project away. Then I brought it back, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do short bites instead. And again, the live webinar, the technicians didn't want to be in a live webinar with me because it was during their work time when they're billing clients. So I was like, okay, so let's try to figure out something else. So then I said, well, let me try videos. And, I'm a fan of the Zoom here. So I was like, okay, why don't I try videos? So I put together in about 2 months the content, all the outlines, how I was going to present it, teach it. It was a lot of work because I did it on my own computer.
Right.
And I did a lot of instructional. So I teach you, I show you, I give you examples of why things are going to break, how to protect the data, how to save yourself, how to manage expectations with clients. I mean, there's a lot of that with Outlook. You have to know what is going to happen. And I teach a lot of that in all the videos. And it's just me. So there's no other voiceover people. It's a tech talking to a tech, basically.
Right.
Like, there's no fluffy. I know you're a tech, so I'm not going to teach you how to work Windows, like I would an end user.
Right.
No, I dive right in to tech work. Yep.
Very good. And where do you find the folks for that? Is this just by participating in online forums that IT consultants hang out in?
Well, you know what, Carl? When I started selling my ebooks years ago, I have my own list of people. So that's a real, it's a good list of folks that follow you on the internet. They follow me on Facebook and Twitter and everything else. And sometimes, people don't always get the emails because they're on Gmail and it goes to their promotions tab. So people that are watching, I'm just reminding them, check your promotion tab sometime because there's little nuggets in there, And also, if you have Outlook, check your junk folder because sometimes good newsletters end up there, and you don't want to miss out on everything. I also work with some other partners on trying to sell things I do also. And it just depends on the product and if it fits what they also sell. So your audience is great because you have MSP folks and they have teams of people, teams of techs that want to learn Outlook so they can buy it for their team.
Right. And you don't have any problem with that if somebody buys one copy for the whole office?
No, I thought about doing a different model for that, but honestly, with the internet, it's just so hard to track it. And I was like, let's just have it open for everybody. If you buy it for your company can use it then.
Right.
So it's a little fair because some people are never going to watch them all, Carl. You know, they're going to watch 2 and be like, I'll come back, and then they forget. So I'd rather have it so other people in the company can learn and help each other.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you how many people have told me, oh, I bought this and I never listened to it, or I never read it, or whatever. I'm like, okay, you know, as long as your check cashes, you know, I'm good to go. So,
hey, I bought a $50 ebook I've never read. I started reading it. I was like, I don't want to read it.
Oh, well, that's you made a conscious decision there.
I did buy it and I never read it.
Wow. So, what do you think are the most the biggest challenges that IT consultants have to work with when they start working with the Office 365? Because a lot of people are freaked out, like, I don't want to learn more technology, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that I find is when it comes to teaching yourself new things, a lot of the techs and myself, we find it only as we're coming upon a problem. So then what do? We go to Google. We go to Google first, and the first thing we start typing is what we think is going to help. I am an expert Googler with Outlook stuff. So when my clients say they've Googled, I'm like, I'm a better Googler than you, you know? So in tech, I think, well, I know how to type in the right things, you know, the Windows operating system, the file names, the things that the clients don't know. So I tell techs, if you are at a 30-minute mark with Outlook and you can't fix it yet, you need to go to someone else, because you could spend 6 hours and you could actually hurt the client's data, make it worse, and they are going to be mad at you if you mess up their Outlook. That's their bread and butter. If you have an Outlook user, they love that Outlook, trust me, and they hate it being down. So 30 minutes to an hour, if you're not getting anywhere, I say it's time to call me and let me step in and help you. And I do have a tech kind of discount, and you'll get it fixed faster, and your client will be happier. And trust me, the clients are happier when it gets fixed faster than you trying to Google it for hours.
And do you remote in and like you do a remote session? Could I watch you work on my client's computer?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I teach you too. While I'm doing it, I actually say, here's why this isn't working. So it's kind of like you're getting trained and coached at the same time, because there's a lot of old things going on. A lot of people are changing from 2007 to 2016, 2007 Exchange servers being decommissioned. I mean, there's so many changes, and the Office 365 is just another huge part of it. We're just talking Outlook only right now. There's a lot of things to learn, and I think there isn't really a lot of good training from Microsoft. They throw stuff at you, and you got to learn as you go.
Right. Well, and to be honest, the most frustrating thing about having problems today with any technology, but particularly with Microsoft stuff, is that you Google what you think is the problem, and 90% of the responses are forums where somebody says, oh yeah, I'm having the same problem. Has anybody fixed this yet? And it just, oh my God. Like I look at the URL, and if it says forum or, you know, partner portal or anything like that, I'm like, forget it. I don't want to hear people discussing how nobody has fixed this problem yet. It's just so irritating. Yeah. And it also reinforces that lots and lots of people have this exact same problem. And then you get frustrated. Well, then why doesn't Microsoft just fix it? Right? Because it looks like half the internet is dealing with it, you know?
Well, I rely on, this is kind of funny, in the Facebook group I run, I'd actually, you know, someone put out there, why does Microsoft make things so complicated? And I said, I rely on their complications to make me money.
Exactly.
But the thing is, back to the Googling, is that I actually do SEO blogging for errors. So when you go type an exact error for Outlook, you will find my blogs. And I will tell you, this is a working fix, this is not. And I try to update it because I'll catch something happen right away, and I get hundreds of views a month, Carl. Some in the thousands, because I try to catch it right away. And then that helps me with my marketing, because clients will hire me then if it's a client. Technicians, though, they try to still fix it on their own. But I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm helpful. That's why my marketing works. I'm a helpful person with my blogs and such.
Right. Well, you do give quite a bit away for free in terms of good advice. So I appreciate that as a member of the community. So
I'd like to, and I'd like to share if I can.
So with Office 365, do you think that it's easy or difficult for people to get started through something like Intermedia or AppRiver?
Sure. Well, it's nice to have, if you're a technician, and let's say you don't have a lot of tech friends in a community, like in Facebook or elsewhere, having a vendor partner is really nice because they typically give you the support you need. If you need hand-holding, if you've never done it. I mean, my first migration I did, I had to, I'm not going to mention the company, but they literally walked me through every step so I could be successful. But, you know, the vendors now really want to do well with your business, so they're trying extra hard to help the new people. But there's plenty of resources online, you know, to get help from other techs, but everybody does it their own way. You know, some people do manual, some people are doing tools, some are using Skykick. And I think a lot of techs just want to be hands off and they don't want to do it. They would rather outsource it because it's a one-time thing. But then you lose out on the sales and other stuff that come with it, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you were doing 2 a week, you'd do it yourself. You do 1 a year, you might as well hire somebody who knows what they're doing. So
yeah, I actually just hired out. Now, this is kind of funny. I've been doing these migrations for years. I prefer to do the small ones myself, but I just worked out a deal with the company here. So they're going to do all my migration work, anything over 3 mailboxes, because it's just, to me, not work I want to do anymore. I'd rather do the aftercare and the Office 365 IT admin stuff. So the company and I have an agreement that I'm going to continue my work. They just do the migration work. So I love that. So if anybody's interested, let me know, because migration work isn't always fun. It's very, it's not seamless. So it's not seamless.
I have a question that I get a lot of people always want to discuss this when I do my roadshows. What do you recommend? Let's just use an attorney as an example because they're easy. Yeah. What do you do with somebody who has 45,000 unread emails in their deleted items folder and you can't get rid of it? Like you literally, I won't let you empty that before you migrate. Like, what do you do with them? What do you recommend?
Well, my favorite is what I do is I create a PST file. It's called deleted items, whatever. And 45,000 is really not that many emails anymore. So I have a choice for the client is I can move them out of deleted. When you set up the PST at the bottom, you can move it all, which takes it off whatever server or off the IMAP or whatever. And then you have the PST local, and then you make sure you back up that computer every day, because that is, for a lawyer, they have to keep that for many years. Actually, Carl, everybody wants to keep email for years. It doesn't matter who you are. They don't want to delete nothing. So then you don't have to put those emails up on the server, which is better for Outlook to have less that's always going on. And especially if you're doing a Google Apps or Google with IMAP, you don't want 45,000 emails syncing on any server. So I just move them off and don't put them up on PST it.
So what about the inbox that's that big?
Well, okay, so then what I do is I go into email management. So I tell people that have like 80,000 emails in their inbox, which that's huge. Mm-hmm. Let's take that out by year. Let's go make a 2010 to 2014 folder, and then I put the inbox in there and the sent items and deleted. So I kind of put all the extra cluttery that they want. Then typically that clears out like 3/4 of their mailbox.
So do you move that to a folder within like their name, like it'll say Carl Polachuk and then the 2010 to 14 and then their actual inbox?
Well, in Outlook, you have like your folder structure for your server. Then I create a PST file that's outside of the Exchange. It's local on the computer, and I call it 2010 to 14.
Oh, okay.
So everything is local to a. I'm sorry?
So that's another PST.
Yeah, and people don't like all the PSTs, but you can't have that much on the server anymore. I mean, I tell people what you've done in the past 7 to 10 years in email is nothing compared to what you're going to have in the next 2. You are going to have 3 times as much sizes, graphics, pictures. I mean, we're all attachment, people. So I tell them, and this is what texts say, my clients have to have it. I go, they can have it, but locally, not on the server.
Right.
And they're like, well, they have to have it. I go, then that's your choice that you're not allowing, you're not managing the mailbox the right way, in my opinion. So you should tell the clients, let's back it up to a PST. Let's back it up every day, and then the email's in one place. Now, if you want to have that PST on 2 computers, you make a copy and put it over on the other computer and tell them to never add to it. It's never going to synchronize. So when you teach people the right way, they're like, oh, that's great. Then I just have an archive.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. So that's what you do with what I would call the email, protectant people, hoarders.
Right.
They don't want to get rid of it.
So I haven't used AppRiver. But I assume, my understanding is it's very, very similar to Intermedia. Do you sell other services that they have? Do you help people with email archiving or signatures or any of that kind of stuff?
You know what's really popular right now, Carl, is encryption and spam filtering. There's actually some other products out there that do with like Office 365 backup. There's one called spanning.com that they're their own. They were actually bought by EMC, which is now owned by Dell, I think. So it's kind of like this. Yeah, I think EMC is Mosey. Anyway, they do really good Office 365 backup. So if you have a lot going on and you want those backed up by another party, I tested that product. It works really good. I just don't personally sell it because Exchange, you don't need to back up really, I mean, it just works so great. AppRiver is kind of similar to the other vendors. All the other vendors have their own little thing that they do, right, that's special. And some have Canadian pricing, some don't. But I tend to learn that if I'm what I tell my clients is I've been with my vendor a long time and I have a relationship. Right. And I trust them. So, if you're jumping vendor to vendor and you don't have a relationship, I recommend you find one and stay with it because then you have a longer term relationship. So
well, and I find that both Rackspace and Intermedia, which is what I've used, it's much easier for me to manage the licenses for Office 365 through them than it is to go directly to Microsoft. That's been my experience.
Nothing.
So, yeah. So,
yeah. I think the CSP plan is good, but I'm not the kind of person that wants to manage licenses. I don't want to manage, if you can tell, I don't want to manage nothing. I like just doing the work.
So Outlook aside, what's the most common thing that you work on with Office 365 and help people with?
Well, a lot of folks are really wanting to do the SharePoint because they're confused on SharePoint and OneDrive. So they'll actually call me and say, look, we just migrated and we have a big mess. And I go, what's your mess? And they say, OneDrive, nothing's syncing, we got problems. So basically what people do is once they get the OneDrive connector, they think they can go dump their whole entire network, file sharing onto OneDrive, and then it never syncs. They have problems sharing. Well, here's my tip. OneDrive is for one person. SharePoint is for sharing. I've said this over and over. So when people are doing things like with SharePoint, you can actually share better now. They've really made the product a lot more user-friendly. You can collaborate in real time. You can't do any of that OneDrive. And OneDrive is supposed to be for you to share your own data with your own stuff. For you, your own private library. And they're trying to do OneDrive for business and trying to do all these other things, and I frankly do not support it, and I will never sell it. I only will sell and support what I can back and train and fix.
Right.
If you can't do it, you shouldn't be selling it. That's what I tell people is don't hype up stuff to your clients if you can't support it because it's going to hurt you.
Right.
That's why I learned.
Well, you certainly will lose money if you sell stuff you can't support.
Yep. You will. And if you want to learn it, there's a possibility I'm going to do a SharePoint webinar here on just basics of SharePoint, like basic selling, basic setup, basic support. There's a few little things you can learn, how to map a drive, but it's really meant to be an intranet site, SharePoint. It's meant for the big boys, the big corporations. They scaled it down, but it's really hard to find a good SharePoint developer that wants to work for a few hours to make it pretty and plug it in and put the colors in. And
well,
so it's
and
really always out
with SharePoint has been that if you hire a programmer and you make it look pretty, then the next version of SharePoint, you hire that programmer again to make it all look pretty again because all your customizations are gone. So, or they may not be gone, but they don't work. So
yeah. Well, basic SharePoint is what I teach.
The what SharePoint?
I just teach basics of SharePoint. I don't get into there's a few add-ons and plugins that are nice, but honestly, I tell people use what it's meant for, and if you want extras, then you're going to be putting in a lot of money because it doesn't really, it needs a developer.
Right.
To do it.
Yeah, and then it gets a little pricey. So
you froze there for Carl. Sorry.
Oh. I just say that it gets very pricey. It's just sort of like the old days when we customized Access databases and then we could never upgrade them, So
you still can't.
It's kind of the same thing. So do you have a blog that we can market or advertise for folks?
No, my blog is and I tell people this, that I have a whole show on blogging we can do if you want ever. I don't really promote my blog because my blogs are meant for SEO purposes. I do different types of blogging for marketing for my business. They're not like, always a friendly tip. Sometimes it's hardcore, hire me to do this. And then it's kind of a boring blog because it's meant for marketing. It's not for learning. That's what I call an SEO blog.
So your blog is not meant for me to read. It's meant for when I'm searching that it comes up.
Well, I've been SEO blogging for years, Carl. So what I call SEO blogging is a few things. And I don't mean to segue into this, but if you go search for something on the internet, if you go search for like an error, I do exact errors. So you'll find my blogs because I've got a lot of Outlook keywords, thousands of them. I've got 1,500 blogs, And so I do SEO blogging. I also do location blogging. So let's say, I think you're in California. If you wanted an Outlook expert in your town, I probably conquered your town. I've done that for years. I've marketed all the big U.S. cities and states. Okay. That's called SEO location blogging. And then I also do on occasion blogging just for fun, where I'll just tell a story, but they're not really meant to make any money. It's just to share on social media. Right. And then I also do the bait click, which I don't know the word for it. It's like 5 ways to optimize your Outlook or hidden tips of Outlook. And then I put them on LinkedIn and those seem to cycle well over there. One of my blogs has like 65,000 views. It's pretty nice. And it gets me a lot of work. Right. Because the LinkedIn article bled over to Google. So now when people Google Gmail 2016 problems or whatever, my blogs are ranked really high and I get a lot of work from them. So I kind of blog 4 ways. Yeah, I'm a heavy-duty blogger.
So that's interesting, but it's not intended for me to necessarily read. So just to get you business.
No, and that's why
I actually really like that concept.
Well, let me just tell you another tip that people don't know is if you have a website up for your business and you don't blog and you got the blog tab at the top, you're actually wasting advertising space because people are going to go there and they're not going to see anything good. And they're going to be like, well, they're not keeping it updated. And the worst part is a blog is to teach people things. And half the time they don't know what it is. So they go to Google to check it out and then you lost them. Right. So here's what I tell people is blogging should keep people learn, call to action. Call you to learn more or to get it fixed. And there's a lot of methodology with blogging, but keep them short. You don't need to write a 1,000-word blog because the content, if you're not optimizing it right, it's not doing any good.
So here's the question. Is your blog on Blogger, which is owned by Google? Because I got to say.
Not anymore.
So, not anymore?
No, I took it off Blogger years ago. I went from Blogger to WordPress.org, the free one. And then one of my friends in Minneapolis was like, let's put you on WordPress.com, which is the awesome one. Right. And since 2009, I've been just all there. Oh, WordPress, blogging, and Google are very friendly, Carl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figure since Blogger is owned by Google, They're going to make sure that, they index it very thoroughly.
Maybe, but let me just here's some tips for folks. If you really want to get into blogging, get a WordPress website. If you don't have that, like let's say you got a Joomla site, you could probably blog in Joomla, but WordPress and Google are really friendly. And I actually just started up, I'm just going to keep this very low, but I started up an SEO business this summer. And I'm doing SEO blogging for tech companies because I already know all the words. I already know how to successfully do it. So if anybody's interested, they can contact me offline. But I really love it. I've been doing it for years, so I might as well.
I really love that concept, SEO blogging. So I would love to have you write me a nice 20-page white paper on that I could sell on my site.
Well, Carl, I already have an ebook out, but I took the book off for sale when I started the business. See, I made the book, but nobody would buy it. So I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to open the business. And since I started the business, I've already made a lot more money by doing it for people than for them to read it and not do it.
There you go. Okay. Very cool. Well, sadly, we are out of time.
Oh my God, Carl.
Shocking. I
know. It's always a joy.
So this has been fun, and we should do this again. And in the meantime, we're going to put a link down here so people can find your videos. And with luck, we'll make you a little bit more money on that as well, because they really are excellent videos. And it's like 5 hours of training, 4 hours of training total.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's actually 4 hours almost to the minute. I really kind of keep it there. Then I have a Facebook group that you join if you want to. It's really interactive. So instead of like at your half-hour mark, just go to my group and just start asking your questions. We've got many members, and we're a tight community now of people that know how to fix things faster. And I still throw out stuff too because I don't know everything, but I love hearing what other people know. And it's so I got to say that these online communities are so great for everybody right now. I recommend you get in them.
Technology never stops changing, so you got to keep doing it forever and ever. So.
How did we do it 10 years ago, Carl? Without help. Wasn't so hard then either. All right.
All right. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it very much, and we will have you back.
It's been a pleasure, Carl. See ya.